just a couple of charts to introduce why at IBM we talk about sustainability. We talk about sustainability because we know that nowadays sustainability is on top of all, our customers' agendas, on top of all the companies' agendas. We know that more or less 95% of Fortune 500 companies have set up targets for net zero targets for the future. And we know that sustainability and decarbonization targets will touch, the populations, the emissions, the GDP. So it's a real, it's a real topic that we can address. And every year for the last 20 years, IBM used to run a survey with all our CEOs. And what's in the last survey that we published was in May 2022, all the CEOs pointed out the pressure that they are feeling in these years, in these months, versus sustainability versus decarbonization, because customers are asking to, buy products and services to more sustainable companies. Even the employees sometimes chose the companies where they want to work based on the sustainability reports and how much this company is investing in sustainability. And on top of that, investors are looking at corporate social responsibilities reports and the targets that these companies, the specific company is setting up for the future. So this is a real point where all the companies are investing and looking at. And sustainability could be even the trigger to even start a digital transformation within the companies. And this is because when we talk about sustainability, we talk about data. When we talk about ESG reporting, we talk about data. Because we have the data that could let us understand where they are, and it could let us understand how to set up the targets for the future and how to operationalize these sustainability targets. The question is, do we know where these data are? Do we know how to use these data? So which data we need, where they are, how to collect this data, and how to, homogenize even these data. Actually, it seems that the companies we work with don't know how to get insights from these data. And this is a really, big numbers, because we know that from 60 to 73% of data are not used. So the problem is not that we don't have the data that could let us to drive sustainability initiatives in the following years. The problem is that we have this data, but we don't know exactly what to do with this data. And this is another important data, because 42% of the CIOs think that sustainability, so starting with sustainability, could be really the trigger to start a digital transformation within the company. So at IBM, we decided, to accept this challenge, even because we've been talking about data for the last 10 years. And we really believe that in the power of the data. So what the challenges that we have in front of us are understanding as I said, where the data are, how to collect these data, how to get insights from these data, whether they are within the company, so spread in different silos within the company, or externally from suppliers or from other companies. Understand the quality of this data and make reports that are financial grades, so auditable. And this is an important word that I will mention even in the next charts. So we need to even report data and understand the value of this data in an auditable way. And this is even because we have frameworks to disclose this data. We all know that we have lots of frameworks. I will go through that in a while, but we are really far from have just one framework, one standard. So having even these different kind of reports and frameworks is making the data collection process and the reporting process really time consuming and really time consuming. At IBM, we think that the 3 steps that we have to put in place to reduce carbon emissions, carbon accounting, and drive a more sustainable business are, first of all, define ESG goals. And generally, we do this phase with other partners, other system integrators that have the sustainability skills, so the sustainability expertise, and it could let companies understand a possible path to net zero. In order to do that, we have to establish a baseline, so understand the value of the data, understand where we are, because if we don't understand the status that we have today, we cannot really set up the targets for the future. So we have to establish this baseline. And at the end of the day, as soon as I understand where I am and where I want to go, I have all the elements to operationalize sustainability. So put in place actions, put in place activities, programs that could let me understand, could let me achieve these targets. So it's not just important to set up these targets, but even track and monitor all my progression versus these targets. And we have a solution that help us on that. But first of all, at IBM, we designed a framework with different pieces of solutions. We are talking about technology. We have different technologies that could help companies in drive this path. So first of all, as I said, it's important to define a strategy and so understand where the organization wants to focus these outcomes. Is it on people? Is it on the planet to achieve the net zero, the net zero emissions, or reduce the emissions in the next years? Or it's about governance. So we could touch the three elements of the ESG: environmental, social, and governance. And we could do that through a process that we call Garage. It's a methodology where we can go through the different pieces, the different meanings of sustainability, as I said, just to work with the customer, with the companies, and understand which are the main activities that they have to lead in order to achieve the targets that they want to achieve. So we can collaborate to access the real problem of that specific company, co-execute these processes and tools and methods to scale sustainability initiatives, and then cooperate in a long-term way to monitor and track and update these targets. Then we have another layer that is the layer of the data collection. And we have actually 2 ways to engage sustainability, because the weather could impact our business and our business could impact the weather. And we need to collect the data in one single platform. I will go through all these framework later on when I will talk about Envizi. So now I just stop on the environmental, because this was an acquisition that we did a couple of years ago. So now IBM is the biggest data provider of weather data provider in the world. So nobody knows, but it's like that. And we have a solution that can collect data coming from geospatial data, or the weather, or third parties data, or even internal data, to really understand and monitor possible conditions, possible weather conditions that could impact my business operations, and take actions in a proactive way to really reduce the possible negative impact of these weather and environmental conditions. And then, so as I said, I defined strategy. I have a data platform. I will go through the data platform a little bit better later on. I understand the value of my data, and then I can operationalize this sustainability. So I can take actions to really reduce my carbon emissions. So actually at IBM, we could work on 3 different silos. One is related to physical assets, whether they are general assets like plants or even, I don't know, facilities, buildings. We could work in a proactive way to reduce the wastage, prolong the life of these assets, and so even reduce the emissions. Then we can work on data centers. I can go to, okay, this is the Maxim application suites that address all the things that I already mentioned. So we can manage the assets, the infrastructure, and the resources. We can monitor in a real time all our operations, the health and safety of our assets. We can monitor even the technicians on the field, and we can work better in their localization and movement to reduce the emission, but even to track all the social part related to the work treatment. And then we have another solution, another suite of solutions that is called Tririga, that is specific for building. So we can monitor and track all the activities related to my real estate management or the projects that I run on my portfolio of buildings, or all the activities related to operations and maintenance within the space, or space management optimization. And finally, even all the activities related to the and I don't know, the air conditioning or lights, just to reduce the environmental impact of my portfolio of buildings. And then we have the third solution. This is related to the IT specific emissions management. So we acquired this solution, is called Turbonomics, and they help us to reduce the emissions related to the, as I said, data centers. So they can we can optimize the workload in the on-premise data center or scale to the cloud, and define a better strategy to balance the workloads into the cloud or into the on-premises data centers. And finally, the fourth solution of this like operations part is Sterling. It is a solution related to supply chain that actually is, could address sustainability in 2 ways. One is to provide a transparent supply, so through blockchain technologies, we could support companies in tracking all their supply chain, so both all the upstream supply chain, and provide information to the consumers on the origin of the goods, and how these specific goods are produced, or that specific services. So this is for the upstream supply. And then we have another part of solution that is order management, that help us to better manage the inventory or the logistics in the field, and reduce the emissions related to the movement of the goods into the field, and even the provide visibility of the inventory, so the goods that we have in our inventory, and manage the inventory in a more proactive way. All these solutions are modular, so we can start where we want, and then define a path for growth. So, as I said, this is a recap of all the solutions that we saw. Now I want to stop a little bit more on Envizi. As I said, Envizi is we acquired Envizi at the beginning of the year, and this is basically a data platform that support companies in addressing these four main main challenges. So first of all, disclosures, ESG disclosures. We know that, it's really time consuming, as I said, and standards are increasing and increasing and increasing. So I heard from one customer that he spent like 6 months every year to disclose to different kind of frameworks. And the frameworks, they have both corporate social responsibilities reports, but even external frameworks. And it takes time to answer like thousands of questions. The other challenge is related to the greenhouse gas calculations and reporting. There are different methodologies to calculate the emissions. So I mean, we should be really careful when we apply emission factors, because we need to build a really structured data foundation with data that could be financial grade. I mean, so auditable, shareable. I should be able to verify the quality of this data. Another challenge, as I said, is achieving decarbonization targets and drive engagement and actions. So engage different kind of stakeholders and really operationalize the sustainability to drive these decarbonization activities and arrive to these targets. MBeasy is composed, I could say that MBeasy is, as I said, a data platform, and MBeasy addresses mainly these four main building blocks. So first of all, the starting point is to use MBeasy to establish a robust data foundation. And we talked a lot about the concept of creating a single system of record, bringing together all the data, all the data that a company needs, whether they are, whether they come from the company itself or the suppliers. And the beauty of having consolidated all the data in one single system of record is that it becomes much easier to streamline and automate the reporting requirements, whether they are compliance reporting to specific geographies or reporting in a multitude of global reporting frameworks, or disclosing performance to employees, customers, and investors. And MBeasy provides a really customizable tool, and I will show you the platform later on. But the good part of MBeasy is that we do not stop just on reporting, but we provide companies a tool that can let them engage different kind of stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders, providing them access to the data they need when they need and in the format that they need, and even embeds the sustainability activities and technology into their daily operations. And at the end of the day, thanks to a platform like MBeasy, where we can consolidate the data and streamline the reporting, engage different stakeholders, we can really accelerate the decarbonization. MBeasy is a modular platform. It's composed by 15 modules. And these modules address like 5 main use cases. One is related to emission management. So we have a tool that could collect data, scope 1, 2, and 3 data. We support all the 15 categories of the GHG protocol. And we could even set up the targets for the future and track our performances versus these targets related to the environmental part. ESG reporting is composed by all the modules that help companies to disclose this data to the external frameworks. As I said, it's not just the environmental part, but it's even social and governance. And in these tools, we can even collect all the activities that we are doing at a corporate level, so we can keep track of all the reporting and requirements. On the ESG performance, we can set up the materiality of sustainability initiatives, and we can even understand how to track and monitor all our supply chain. And even in this case, we can keep track of the sustainability programs that we have cross company. These are the 9 modules that address mainly ESG and sustainability. But as I said, the value added of MBeasy is that we do not just stop. No. I didn't want to. We don't stop just on sustainability, on ESG, but we can work with companies in addressing their energy management and building optimization activities. So we can collect the data coming from the utilities in an automatic way or manual way. We can track all the renewals of certificates and offsets, and we can even automatically ingest data coming from IoT and sensors in our building and take proactive actions if we detect faults in our systems. Within MVisi, we have more than 500 data connectors, so we can ingest automatically more than 500 different kind of data. So for sure, the utility bills are the most common, but as I said, we could track even certificates and offsets or waste and recycling, all the transportation, for example, data from the agency, third parties agency. As I said, this is a summary of the data that we can collect, of the bucket of data that we can collect. Is enough? The answer is not. We have more than 500 different kind of data that we can collect, but during the analysis with the customers, we could understand if more connectors are available. The good part is that we designed this framework of sustainability solutions. All these solutions have pre-built connectors that can let data flow from one product from one tool to the other. And this supports, the main frameworks that we have in the world. So I will show you how we can get access to the data and how we can fill the questionnaires to report the data to these frameworks. And these are the main customers that MVisi have. IBM, you can see here, IBM is actually a customer of MVisi. We started to use MVisi 3 years ago in order to reduce our emissions and to collect the data and understand the value of energy data across geos, across countries. And then when we understood the sustainability, a really hot topic today in the world, we decided to acquire MVisi and deploy MVisi and let MVisi talk with the other products that we have. This is a schema of how MVisi works, and this is a SaaS solution, so it's cloud-based. So really quickly, as I said, we have connectors. We can ingest data coming from different sources, different kind of sources, and different kind of data. We can ingest this data in two ways, manually and automatically, and I'll show you in a moment. This data flow within MVisi, where we consolidate all these data in a single system of record, where all the data could be tracked, are auditable. Every auditor could drill down to every data and understand the source, the story, how this data is collected, the emission factors that are applied. So you can really prove that the data that you are showing are real. And then within MVisi, you could run every kind of report. So you can disclose to the external reports, and I'll show you how, or you can create your own reports. And this is a really powerful tool, because you can engage, as I say, different kind of stakeholders from the boardroom to the boardroom. So there are people that are more like active, and others that are more in the board. These are the 6 ways we use to capture the data. So as I said, we can collect automatically some kind of data with these connectors, and mainly for the supply chain, we have templates and software that we can use to collect the data and engage the upstream and downstream suppliers. Okay. Let me switch to the demo. So I will stop my video because I'm concerned about the network. Okay, so first of all, When we talk, as I said, when we talk about sustainability, we have different kind of stakeholders. For sure, VP of sustainability, generally they set up the short and long-term corporate ESG targets, and they, they sign off the external disclosure. So they want to be sure that the data that are shown, that are disclosed, are real and auditable. Then we have, for sure, sustainability managers that manage mainly the processes, people, timeline, and data quality required to generate this corporate social responsibilities report and the external framework report. And they should ensure that all the business leaders are across the company have the data and the tool to track and improve their division's performances. And finally, we have the business leaders of the single division that have to track. They have to set up the targets for their specific business unit and track the performances versus the against corporate ESG data. Okay. First, so I will switch from the presentation to the demo, going use case per use case. So the first use case that I want to present to you is how to create a structured data foundation. So as we said, the sustainability manager needs to organize these thousands or tens of thousands of data stream required for CO2 and ESG reporting across the complex organization. And then every business unit, every business leader have to operationalize these targets. So this is the homepage. So I already, but okay. So this is the homepage of MBZ. So as you may see here, I have my view here. For example, this is a new message that is telling me that MBZ made some changes, which is good, but I can close it. Here I have quick links. I can customize my view as I want. So here I can see my frequently visited sites. I can open my issues. So I can see what I want. I can customize the view here. So for example, if I don't want to see my open issues, I can close here, apply, and I don't see it anymore. Okay. Let's go deep to understand how the data are organized within MBZ. So as I said, the data could be grouped by locations, by geographies. So for example, we can go here and see, for example, Middle East, United Emirates, and you can see here. So if I run Middle East, I can click here and have an overall view. Probably it's going too slow. An overall view of what's going on in my region. But these data could be organized even by groups. For example, here I have different groups, and here even for functions. So if I run a financial services group, I can go here and drill down what I need to see. And the fact that we can collect the data in this way, in this granular way, help me to run the reports that I need and to get access to the data that I need when they need, without just the data, just what I need. So if I go here to the location, and I want, for example, if I run the Grand Central location, I can go here, type Grand Central, and I have an overview of all the things related to this specific location. Even in this case, the homepage is customizable. I can take actions like custom survey or existing facility, energy management analysis. Here I can see, for example, if there are issues related to this specific location and who are the people that are assigned to, for example, to these issues. So I can reach out to them and I can drill down all the data as I need. Here I can see the activity per period. I can drill down here all the data that I need. So this is my summary for Grand Central, for example. Here I can see, for example, the hierarchy of all the data, so how the data are organized and collected for these specific sites. So for example, I could have access to all the accounts, and the account data typically includes the utility data for the location or other, energy data, corporate air travel. These are all the data that are collected for this specific location. I could even drill down to operation performance here, or if I want to understand better my building rating details, I can drill down as I want all these data. Let me close here because I can show you even the downstream and upstream data. Let me check here. So I can even drill down, for example, my upstream supply chain. As I said, we can cover all the scope 3, 15 categories as listed in the GHG protocol. And if I want to see, for example, at the supplier level, I, for example, could drill down here and see category 1, for example, purchased goods, and supplier group 2, and then drill down, for example, if I want to see this Glasgow, this is a possible supplier, and I could have access to all the data related to this supplier. So these are the basic information so that I could have access to. So as I said, this use case was to create a structured data foundation. And as you may see, we can collect all the data, we can organize this data in the way that I need more. The other use case, how I can calculate and report emissions. So yeah, we know the emission footprint for a typical organization involves calculating the emissions of thousands or tens of thousands of different sources and applying the right emission factor for each of those data sources. So it's common for an organization to use different thousands of emission factors to calculate their footprint, and those emission factors vary over time and vary according to the geographies. So for a company, understand which kind of emission factors to use and to run reports on their emission footprint is really hard. So for that, we could use MBC. So I can go to the homepage. Now I'm the hat of the sustainability manager. So I'm responsible for producing the emission footprint of my organization. So I can go here to the monitor part. So first of all, if I want to understand the performances of my emission performances, I can go here to emissions performance. And here, okay, I can, this is the page that I see. Even in this case, I can filter if I want to see specific groups or regions or locations. I can, set up the filter as I need. Here, I can understand my emissions in this specific time frame. I can change even the time frame. I can change the length here. Oh, probably it's better to not move so many things. Okay, I can compare even my period to previous years or other targets. Let's assume previous year. I can change the length. I can change from tons to kilos of CO2. I can change the length to see this data. Here I have an overview of my emissions in this case, and I can track my emissions in this specific period that I set up. I can drill down for example, January 2021. I can drill down on the scope of the emissions. For example, this is the scope 3, scope 2, scope 1. And I can have an inventory here of all my emissions. So even in this case, I can drill down, for example, on scope 2 and have a view of my scope 2 emissions, and run my analysis. Let's try to now to run a report, because this is a performance view. If I want to run a report, I mean, let's assume that my organization reports to the CDP. So I'm required to calculate my emissions in two different ways that are location-based and market-based. So if I go here to reports, I mean, location-based use the emission factors associated with the electricity grids in the local geography where the site is located, and market-based is emission factors associated with purchased green power and specific power purchase agreements. So for the CDP, I have to run both. So I can type here market, and I can run here this report that will show me the electricity and the emissions of my company. Okay, so now I can see. Okay, I can change the reporting period. I can see my electricity emissions, renewables data. As I said, both in a location-based and market-based. I can click to all these data to drill down. For example, I can even drill down my path to net zero, and I could look all these, all the data consolidated per geography or per location. I can go back, and if I want to look at my emission inventory, I can understand here the emissions per geography. I can change the period. So if I want to see my last year, for example, I can have a look even on certificates allocations, or how all the single locations are performing. But if I want to understand, for example, if I'm allocating properly the offsets, or if I need to buy other certificates for this year, I can even, run the report for this year that it's not completed, the 2022, and have a look of my emissions and my certificates. Here, we could even open a glossary where we support even companies and sustainability managers in understanding even the words, and to work better in these reports. I can export the reports that I need in the formats that I need. So if I need to then report to, I don't know, my boards or to the other business managers or business directors, my emissions, my data, my path to net zero, I can export the as I said, the reports. Here I can see even the emissions factors that we used, the residual mix, the location based, and we can drill down all these factors. Why this is important? Because this is auditable, and Envizi, as I said, manages and updates tens of thousands of published emission factors on behalf of our customers. On top of that, customers can also add their own emission factors, which is common for power purchase agreements and green power contracts. So we can go to the third use case. So as I said, here the scope was how to calculate and report emissions, and we saw that we can we can drill down, we can have the dashboard, and we can have finally even the a shareable report. So the third use case is how to streamline external ESG reporting. And as a sustainability manager, ESG reporting season is really the most stressful moment of the year. So as I said, I heard even companies that spend 6 months or more to disclose to external frameworks. And so it's a good way to have a tool that could let us to run these reports in an automatic way. So we can go here to Sustainability Reporting Manager. Okay, so this is my framework library where I have my corporate social responsibility, for example, and I could even add other disclosures. I can do that. I can create my proper disclosures. Let's assume that we are working on the corporate social responsibility for 2021. What I can see here is that here we have all the key project milestones in terms of getting the content ready, where I am in the progression of the questions that I have to answer. And here I see that, for example, it's completed just at 35%. If I want to view, I can click to view, and here I can see that I have 33 days until responses should be ready. Here are all the questions. So this is the progression. I can drill down on all of them. Here are all the 26 questions that I set up for the corporate social responsibility. For example, I could open one that's pretty common, like this is complete. So I can open this one that it at least is complete. I can see here how MBZ support companies in disclosing. So all the details, the guidance that MBZ provides. Here we have even the methodology that we use to answer these questions and the people that are answering these questions. And this is really the memory. So even if, I mean, people change within the company. So even if people leave, we have here all the information related to the methodology that we used. This is the final response, the links, attachments, and comments. Here we can see the details, the overall details, and even the the other reports that are called for answering this specific report. So I can, for example, click here and I can see how I'm collecting the data from this specific response. If I go back here, I can even add other questions, for example. So if I want to, if I want to add other questions, I can add or remove questions here, and I can call existing frameworks, for example. So if I want to take all the questions coming from the sustainability, the development goals, I can select the questions here. Select all, for example, and save. In this case, I cannot because it's just for reading. Okay, then what I can do here, I can open another report, for example, because I want to show you even quantitative data. One with scope 1, scope 2, this is risk, this one. So in this case, okay, we have the same framework, but here we have quantitative data, and these data are collected within MBZ. So these data so it shouldn't be collected from outside or calculated outside. So these numbers are within the platform. Another good thing here is that I can copy the answers for last year, for example, or I can view the details just to see if the answers are right or not, if I want to use the same answer. So for example, here the original was that. If I copy from last year, I would change this number. So in this case, I don't want to. For other questions, for example, social questions, I can even think about copying from last year or copying from other frameworks. I go faster. I want to run even for the corporate social responsibility, another executive report, just to, because we are running out of time. Just 1 second, I will show you this report. Okay, in this case, this is an executive report. So if I want to disclose all this data to my board, I could use this report and drill down to all these emissions and energies and wastage. Even in this case, I can change the period and I can save everything. Let me go back here to just the last thing that I can show you, because we are running out of time. If I want to look at the social part of this of the ESG, here I have the corporate social responsibility report, for example, and I can drill down here and see, for example, my employee information, drill down all the data. As I said, I can extract the report. I already downloaded one, so this is the final way the reports are presented. So I already downloaded one before this demo. Let me see if I have another use case, but this is if I want to disclose to CDP, to streamline internal environmental performances. So if I take the hat of the business director and I want to understand if my office, the performances of my offices and my portfolio, really quickly, I can go here and select, for example, my division and my offices. And here I have the same overall view, which is good because I can provide the same customer experience all the time. So I can customize here the view. I can see I can see the summary. I can benchmark for, I don't know, the location by intensity. I can drill down all this data. And I can change the lens. So depending on, the data I'm interested in, I can drill down all the things. Okay, as I said, IBM is both a customer and so we really invest in sustainability. We believe that the future, I can start the video again, has to be more sustainable. So that's the reason why IBM is investing heavily, and it's almost 50 years that we invest in sustainability for ourselves. Differentiators of Envizi, as I tried to show you, we go from reporting to performances. We can engage different kind of stakeholders from boardroom to boardroom. It's a scalable solution, so we can. We could decide which modules are more interested for me. And we have a really, really big experience and expertise into the sustainability domain. So we can work with the customers in understanding which is the program for the future. So it's not just the tool, but the experience and the expertise that we bring into the table. These are the 4 takeaways. So Envizi is a data platform that creates financial grade system of record, automated the greenhouse gas emissions accounting, streamline the reporting to external and internal disclosure, and underpin decarbonization strategies.